Okay, we're live. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. So today I have some lovely, lovely people with me. I have Joe and I have Angie, and this is something that we've discussed before, and it's really about coming together as a community, spiritual community, whatever other communities are out there. And what we have to say is our point of view and our opinions. And so please just take what resonates with you, and you can leave the rest. And we hope that with the three different views and perspectives that we are presenting, we can reach some of you out there on this topic of coming together. And of course, we'll be drawing from our experiences, and we're going to be channeling these messages as well. So anyway, whoever wants to start first, I think Joe, I'll let you take the lead and start and share with us your experience with this.
What?
Or do you want me to start?
You can start.
Okay, cool. I did have a lot of ideas. Okay, so I want to start with this. All of us are on our journey, and it's really important for us to respect where everyone is in their journey. And so by that I mean the judgment that we have on others. You know, you may not understand the actions behind whoever you're interacting with, you know, what they're going through. And so it's really important to bring awareness to your words and your intentions when you're judging another. And all of us do it. I mean, we're human. What matters is your intention, your intentions behind your words and your actions. Because I do believe words carry a vibration. They carry your intentions. And so when you are speaking negatively about anyone or anything, you are creating that environment. You know, what you put out into the universe is what you'll get back. So if you're throwing out negativity, just be mindful that that is what you're going to experience. And so I think it's important. We're not perfect. You know, we get taken over by our ego, but I do believe it's important to bring awareness to your actions and your words. And so yeah, I actually have a favorite quote from I believe this is Buddha, but it says, "Before you speak, let your words pass through 3 gates. Is it true? Is it necessary? And is it kind?" I think those are 3 important filters that we need to consider when we are thinking of communicating with anyone, or even taking certain action or making decisions. Just keep that in mind. I know I have more to say, but I'm going to pass it to one of you because I'm kind of losing my words. So, Joe?
Hello? Can you hear me? Yeah, what I think is important is to remember that although everyone, we're all potentially equal. We're all equal with respect. So you need to treat everybody with the same respect. They said if you speak negatively about somebody with a you're going to draw that to yourself, and that reflects something in you. It's okay to talk about negative concepts and negative agendas, but you do it from a position where you're not condescending and you're not attacking the other person. You're just simply in what is going on. And you need to ask yourself, with everything that you involve yourself in, from people to your actions to your thoughts, is this helping me build what I want to build? Is this helping me progress in whatever you are trying to build? And collectively, humanity is all trying to build the same thing. We're trying to get to that next level. And there's a variety of different ways people do that. Some get consumed with their ego and they get on a power trip. They think that's the way, like get myself to be more powerful. And that's a trap a lot of people fall in. But you have to learn to recognize these things as they are and what is actually going on. It's a judgment with your intention. Is to attack somebody or speak badly about that person. That is judgment, you know. So that's what I wanted to clarify, my perception of that topic.
Beautiful, thank you. Go ahead, Angie.
I think what I would like to add, which is just from a total different perspective, which is not spiritual at all, perhaps, I don't know. But recently I did have an experience, I'll go from that perspective. The world reacts, or they awaken to the corruption, and they're angry, and they react, and it's very there's hatred in them, and they want to get back at somebody, and everybody in the spiritual world looks fake to them, you know what I mean? And they really want to attack, especially channelers. But anyway, we won't go there. They look at spiritual people in just a different light, and they like to attack them. They don't care what they're saying. They are the world. They're not. They're really sunken into a dark place, and that's their path, and it's going to make you want to react, and it's going to cause you maybe to swear at them or to bring up some emotion in with you. And what I encourage you to do in that moment is to suddenly just when that arises, is to stop and say, I love you. Just love that moment. Stop, think, don't just react. You know what I mean? Just wait, just feel it out, and just work that out in you so that it does not arise again. Because if you don't do that, it will arise again in you. It will keep reoccurring because something is showing you something, and you need to look at that, you know. So that is just one thing that I noticed that I'll start on, and I think I've said enough.
That's so beautiful, and I'm glad you said that, because what came to mind actually when you were talking about us reacting is another favorite quote of mine, but I don't remember all of it, but it's from Martin Luther King, and he said, you know, darkness does not drive out darkness, light does that. And so when you are seeing someone going through their darkness, well, all of us are going on that journey, no matter how into the love and light that you are into. You're going to have to balance yourself out. We have a dark side to us. We have a shadow side. So yeah, when you see someone acting negatively, send that person love. Don't react to their negativity. Don't get drawn into it. Balance that person out with your light. Just like how we are balancing internally our shadow and our light side, we're doing this for each other as well. We're teaching each other lessons. We're balancing each other out. And so yeah, like you said, Angie, you have to go way beyond that initial reaction, because that initial reaction is your ego. That is what comes to the forefront. That is what brings you to unconsciousness. And so yeah, take your time when you are presented with these situations, and really think about what you're doing and what you're saying, and think about the picture, the situation that is presented in front of you. And another, God, I'm full of quotes today. And I know, Joe, you may have a different perception or perspective on this one, but this is from Buddha again. And Buddha said, without delusions, there is no enlightenment. And to me, because we all can take these quotes and interpret them in any way that resonates with us, to me, what this means is when you're judging, like Joe said, others, you're seeing something within them that you are not comfortable with. So you could say like, God, this person is so delusional. What is going on with them? Why are they not seeing what I am seeing? And really, you kind of have to go through these experiences in order for you to know yourself. Because when you break these barriers, when you break through the ego or whatever, when you learn your lessons and when you're completing them, you're getting closer to your higher self, to who you are. And so, yeah, please do not place judgment on anyone in their journey, because either you are going to go on that journey soon after, or you have gone through it and you've forgotten what it was like to be in that place. And so, yeah, approach these situations with compassion. I mean, compassion is truly important in our enlightenment. And also, Angie asked before we went live, you know, because I said we are all on this journey. We might be in different places on our journey, but we are on this journey to a spiritual enlightenment. And she asked, what is spiritual enlightenment? And I think that's such an important question. And to me, spiritual enlightenment, that journey, is the journey to myself, back to myself, to source, the source particle that is within me, which is, you know, connected to my higher self. And so as you're going deep within to find yourself and to align with yourself, you're gonna run into, you know, your ego, your wounds that need healing, whatever it is that's within here that needs to be released. You are going to confront that, and that is also tied to your karma. And so, yeah, I think that's all I want to say for now. I don't know who wants to go next.
Well, also something I've discovered is you really have to keep your own journey light and clear. Your self-discovery is a very precious discovery, because once you really find your true self, you're going to be awakened out of something that you've been. It is the layers of awakening that I've experienced are so vast, and they've been coming so quickly. And I would advise anybody to rather just take it slowly. I don't know why I'm going at the speed. It's probably something I've already done anyway, and I'm just remembering it all, how to do it. I'm trying to just work it all out here, and you know, you on your way there, you're going to lose your mind, and it's going to be scary, you know. Yeah, because then you'll go into another dimension and you merge and you don't know what's happening. So if you don't know what's happening, ask for help. You know, somebody will help and escort you to more enlightenment. You know, talk to somebody, don't just wander and sit there, or, you know, just rather pay attention to what you're doing than what others are doing. But in the process of your 3D life, I don't know, make it fun, enjoy it, you know, create your reality that suits you and what your journey is all about, really. It's important. It is important. It's valuable. It's the only thing that's really valuable that you're going to take with you on your ascension journey. Yeah.
That was so beautiful. Oh, Joe, go ahead.
Yeah, I completely agree with both of what you said. It's it's a very it's the way I view spiritual enlightenment is a journey back to yourself, and a journey about how you fit in, how you're connected to the reality you're in, how you're connected to the higher dimensions, the whole way back to where we all came from, to source. It's the understanding as much as you can bring in that understanding into this 3D mindset in order to get us to the fourth dimension, to the next level of this ascension. It's all, I view it as cycles and cycles and cycles. You know, a lot of people, they here to break the matrix, to break the cycle. You can view it that way, or you can view it as this cycle is coming to its completion, and the next. People forget, yeah, we smashed this control system, this cycle. There has to be something that takes its place. It can't, you know, so it's a transitional period. And that's why it's so important to what I believe is you have to always bring things into your awareness and reality that are in line with what you want to build, you know, and to recognize things and people and agendas and as what they are, not what you other people interpret them to be or anything like that. What they actually are. Is it conducive to what you're trying to build, and is it positive for humanity? Because so that leads to the question, why do people experience darkness? Why? Because everybody goes through darkness at some point. Darkness, we go through darkness for a greater understanding. It's a different path of learning. And, you know, and people and beings that get caught up in that darkness. And they enjoy that illusion. You know, we spoke about judging people, and it's important not to judge people, but it's also important to recognize people and beings for what they are, and do you want to integrate that into what you're trying to build? And some of the times you don't. And some of the times you can entertain the concept and you know, go through it in your own mind and figure that out. It comes down to two options. Do you want to integrate, or do you want to transmute it? You know, and sometimes transmutation is not something that's achievable at that moment. You got to wait for that, and sometimes you have to separate yourself from that situation. Be like, this is not the right time for me to incorporate that, and you move on. And it's always about constantly working and involving yourself and spreading that knowledge and opening dialogue with others in a constructive manner, and constantly learning from everything in your environment. All the people you interact with, you're always learning, even if you're not aware of it. So it's important to be aware of it, identify it, and decide whether you want to integrate it, transmute it, or leave it alone for the time being.
Wow, Joe. Oh man, thank you for that. And I do agree. And I also want to say, you know, all of what you said has to do with knowing yourself. If you don't truly know who you are, and that's okay if you don't, you can be on that path to knowing who you are. You may run into some experiences that are going to teach you certain lessons. I think it's important when you're going through these experiences for you to go through it. Try not to judge yourself for it. Try not to get mad at yourself for it, because I truly don't believe there are mistakes. I think it's all divinely orchestrated. If you're going into your darkness, allow that to happen. Don't fight it. Don't suppress it. I know that that's something that I was doing, and it created a lot of internal conflicts, you know. But I am grateful. I'm grateful every day for all of it. All of it. I love every part of my journey. And that is the most healing thing that anyone can do for themselves. You know, when you're showing gratitude, and I've said this before, you're able to rise above it and move on. You know, you've recognized it for what it is, like Joe said, without judgment, and then you can move on from it. I think, you know, I don't want to just say this life, but in any life that you're in, it's all about forward movement. You know, you don't need to be stagnant in any type of energy or cycle, although that may happen for various reasons. Just keep in mind that whatever it is that you're going through now that is causing you to be down on yourself or suffer even, just know that you have the power to get yourself out of it. A lot of the times it's in our minds, it's our thoughts, and that creates these experiences for us. And so, like Joe said, is this the experience that I want to have? Ask yourself that question, you know, or is this aligning whatever I'm doing with who I am or my true self or what I'm trying to do for myself? It's important to ask yourself these questions. So yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, that's good. Do we have another topic, or do we want to?
Well, I know that we are talking about communities coming together, and these are really what we've seen in spiritual communities. And I know every community has its ups and downs, and this is really it that I wanted to discuss, is like to just remind people to be mindful of your actions and your words towards another, especially when someone is trying to help you. You know, if their intention is to help you, but it may not be what you want or what you want to hear, or you're not getting what you want out of it, just, you know, say thank you and bow and move on to the next, you know, healer or whatever it is that you're looking for.
I think what we discussed here is the first steps in a rough blueprint, if you will, into reunification to these steps, because no one person can unify a group. Okay, it has to be all sorted out, and there has to be a consensus. Everybody has to be on a similar page in order to work together, you know. So in order to do that, you really have to identify, you know, what is your intentions of the people I interact with. How can I tie this all together? And sometimes, you know, integration, transmutation, just leave it alone, you know. So it's a good first step in starting to talk about this issue, because I see the community, the spiritual community that we're all a part of, it's a microcosm. We're supposed to be the enlightened ones, if you will, and I use that term. If we can't sort ourselves out, how can we really expect? You know, we have to try to be the example. And if we can't do that, I mean, how can we really get mad? We have to take responsibility. How can we really be opposed to the way the world's going if we can't even sort ourselves out?
Well, I do want to say this, though. I think whether you're in a spiritual community or whatever community that you're in, and you find yourself in a position where you're helping others, your delivery matters. You know, how not only how you speak with people, but how you present yourself in your assisting others, and how you're guiding others truly matters. And I feel like with some, I don't want to call them spiritual teachers, but I know like the intentions are pure, but I feel like certain people try to forcefully project their agenda on people with good intentions, of course, because they're speaking about something that truly matters to them and that has made a difference in their world. And if the other person isn't quite there yet, you know, vibrationally, but they showed up so they can learn something from you, just take that for what it is, and don't try and force anything to happen. I think it's important to have that understanding when you're in this position where you're able to help people through your experiences, you know, and have that understanding if that person isn't quite ready to go on that journey, to go on that walk, you know, that you went on. And that's brings it back to us being individuals. We're on different places in our journey. but we're all moving towards the same direction. And so it's really good to keep that in mind when you're doing your work as a light worker. You know, have that understanding.
Yeah, I do agree with that. People, that's, it's very important, and that's oftentimes the person is not aware of how they're coming across. And sometimes, you know, I even catch myself, I'm not explaining things properly. That's not what I really meant. You know, I listen back to what I was trying to say at all. But I think a good thing to go into this kind of thing, if you're going to help people, is that with humility and respect. And don't try to force anything on anyone if they're not ready. You planted the seed, you put it out there. It's up to them now. You can't do anything for them, and you can't force anybody to do it. And there's this one saying that I don't know where I heard it, but the wisest person is a student, and the foolish of fools is a teacher. We're both students and teachers at the same time. Even the wisest spiritual teacher that you know is still learning lessons, or they wouldn't be here. So we're all learning together, and we're all teaching together at the same time.
I love that you said that, because I've never really been comfortable with the word teacher, you know, because looking at a spiritual guide, that's what I'm going to call them. I don't want to call them teachers, you know, whatever guru that you're listening to, you know, what are they truly doing? They're stepping aside, right? Stepping aside from their ego, and they're allowing spirit to work through them. So what they really are is a conduit. And that's what they are. They are a conduit that is here to help you reach your own personal truth, your own spiritual self, your journey. And so that, to me, that's a healthy way of looking at it. When you're calling someone a teacher, it just adds to their burden, to their responsibility. You know, now they're carrying the weight of this role that they have been placed in. You know what I mean? And sometimes when you feel a burden, when you feel weight, you lose humility, like you said, you know, and ego takes over. And then the message that comes through that person may not be completely pure, because now ego is integrating with that.
It gets distorted, and when you put people on a pedestal, not only are ego, you're also overwhelming them with a sense of responsibility. You're responsible for yourself. Always remember that. Everyone is responsible for themselves. You're not responsible for anybody else. You know. So that's one thing I try not to. It's hard to admire, not to put them on a pedestal sometimes, because we all have people we resonate with. But you know, I don't think it's the most. It's not the wisest thing to do to feed someone's ego and put them on a pedestal or make them feel responsible for you. So keep in mind.
And that is why it's important to do the self-check, you know, every now and then. You don't have to do it every moment or every day. But we all have ego, and then the ego does interact with us in our 3D life. It is a necessity in this plane to have an ego. But when you're having these interactions and you're truly trying to help people, yeah, definitely it's important to be aware of your ego and step out of it. And oh, that's what I want to talk about. Integrating your spiritual life and your 3D life. This is something that I have struggled with. I'm sure a lot of people struggle with this because sometimes when I'm not happy in my 3D life, I just want to like completely let it go and head towards my spirituality and leave things hanging there. And so the way that I find the balance that has worked for me is my approach to my 3D situations, my 3D experiences. And so I know I've said this over and over, awareness, bringing awareness to self truly helps me integrate my spirituality with my experiences that are, you know, sometimes you're going to encounter people that are totally unconscious. And when that happens, very easily, we can get dragged into their unconsciousness. And so, yeah, this is where you reach for your spirituality and have that understanding, like, okay, even Jesus said it, you know, forgive them for they know not what they do or say. I don't know how he said it. But yeah, it's good to draw on your spirituality in these experiences. You don't have to have like, you know, one door for spirituality and another for your 3D life. You know, there's a healthy way of merging it together. So finding that balance has been an interesting ride for me. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess I would say live in the closest accordance you can with what you actually believe. That's a good way to merge your spirituality with your 3D life. Live in accordance as you can, as often as you can.
Joe, I love that you said that. Wow, that is perfect. That's true wisdom right there. I think I may have to use that one.
Well, they're not for you to use.
What's that?
You can use whatever you'd like. It was just a joke and move on.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. So I really don't have any more to add to this unless Angie or Joe, you guys have any more to add. I'm like,
I have.
yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay. I found on my own path that most of the spiritual people that come into the community, they knew, right? So they go into all these webinars and all that, but they are actually hungry for messages, and they get messages and they're connecting to this, and they get messages that they're doing this and that in astral, and it can really create something that's quite an illusion and can keep you in a dream state. So try to really connect to yourself first, then to channelers and to teachers, and so that you're getting information for yourself that resonates with you. Otherwise, you're going to be taken for a ride. Your ego is going to go, whoa, you know, I'm connected to this being, that being. You know, everything goes distorted and you become something you're not. And you create this false reality for yourself. I've seen it happen. So that is why I'm saying, you know, don't depend on channelers for messages all the time, because they will not always be accurate. You're not always going to get a message every single time you go to a channeler that's specifically for you. Get your own, you know, find out your own truth. Find it in yourself. It is worth it. Really, it's worth it. Because that is the what you need to do, you know, on your own path. Really, it is something that you're creating. So don't let others create it for you, because that's an illusion. Totally. Yeah. So snap out of that. Sorry. That's a
No, I love
That's
it.
good.
Go ahead.
That's an excellent point, because I've seen it too. And the messages, they become an addiction for some people. They have to get more and more messages, and they're creating a fantasy world where they
Exactly.
now a good way to, why are you asking for these messages? Helping you in your 3D life, or is your life improved, or is it just an entertainment and it's a way to escape? So you got to ask yourself the validity of these messages, and oftentimes it's okay to get help from in time, but oftentimes the best messages will come from yourself, because only you truly know your perspective, and you can be your best friend or you can be your worst enemy, you know. So
I totally agree, but I do also want to throw caution out there. You know, when you're getting your own messages, it's important that you're aware of your ego. You know, sometimes the message that you're getting for yourself can come totally from your ego. And um, you may only give yourself the message that you want to hear. You know what I mean? When in fact it could be something else. And also when you're going to other channelers for messages, sometimes what comes through for you is what's necessary for you to hear at that time. You may not hear what you want to hear or get that information that you were looking for. And that is because Spirit knows what needs to come through for you, what's absolutely necessary for that now moment. And so take it for what it is, and give it time and let it resonate with you. Don't be too upset if you didn't get to hear what you wanted to hear, you know, and don't discard that information and say, oh, this is false, you know. And so keep that in mind as well when you're getting messages from others. But totally, I agree. There's a huge codependency that has been created from, you know, people going to webinars and other channelers and constantly asking for messages. Yeah, you can get it yourself, but also when you're doing that, just be mindful of your mind, your ego. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, that's exactly that. Not everything in your head is a message from an alien or your guide. Sometimes it's you. Sometimes it comes from your imagination. Sometimes it comes from your ego. So it's always a sense of humility and how does this help me? Is this giving me an illusion of power? Is this feeding my ego, or is this truly something I need to understand in order to work out my issues and work with myself? So it's always good to do this, the self-inspection, analyze things. And some of these messages that you get from channelers, yeah, don't discard them right away if you don't understand them. They may have relevance, you might only understand later. I've found that happens to me on a few occasions where I've gotten a message and I said, that doesn't really make any sense. I don't understand, but I file it away, and then maybe 6 months, I'll be like, oh, okay, I get it now. So yeah, just you gotta be patient sometimes with these messages.
And I do want to say, this may be short, but discernment is our biggest test here. Because that requires you to truly connect with yourself, you know, beyond your ego, to see if whatever information you're receiving resonated with you, or whatever decision that you're making is of the highest good of not just you, but, you know, other parties involved. And so, yeah, I mean, it's important to not make rash decisions, not make blatant comments or whatever it is that you're doing. And we've said this before, just take your time before you react. Don't even react, respond. And so, yeah, I don't really have too much to add at this point, you guys.
Yeah, well, the last thing I want to say, we touched on discernment. And there's a lot of, like the world we live in today, they think it's the logical, analytical mind. You discern with your mind and the information. No, it's all through the heart. Well, both of them are wrong in my perspective. It's both the heart and the mind working together in balance, because they both can warp things and distort what's actually going on. They need to work together in balance. And that's a difficult thing to do for anybody, but I think that's the highest form of discernment that I've come across. Because it's not one or the other. It's not the heart or the mind. It's both working there for a reason. Just like everybody has emotions for a reason. Negative emotions, positive emotions. Well, they're all meant to teach you something, and they're all tools at your disposal. It's which ones do you want to use, and use proper utilization of these tools. And linking yourself up and putting yourself into a balanced state is, from my opinion, that is the best route to go. That's right now that I've been learning about right now.
Indeed, Joe. I mean, the discernment is not something that, it's something that continually teaches you, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a negative thing. It's definitely a growth opportunity. So, yeah. Angie, do you have anything else to add?
Just row your boat gently down the stream. You know, your boat is really yourself with your ego, with all your baggage or whatever you got. Just, build your row. Look at the water around you, you know. Yeah, it's not all that dreamy. There is some work involved. It is important. Everything is teaching you something important, you know. Yeah. Yeah, you'll get there. We're all getting there. Slowly. Or fast. Who knows? Yeah. Everyone is having a different experience. Oh, just honor their experiences as well. Love them. That's the best thing that you could do. And that's the best advice as well. Just like love is important. It is everything, really. I don't, yeah, my words will not serve really right now because I'm not really here. So just keep in mind that you're rowing a boat gently down the stream. Be
Gently.
merry about it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Gently. Yes. Don't be hard on yourself.
And make your life into your dream.
Yes.
I love you guys. Thank you so much for doing this with me. I'm glad we did this live recording. And also those that joined the live chat too. Thank you for participating.
I think if there are questions or anything like that that people would like to bring forth also, even in the comments after the recording, would be great discussions for the next video because I think we could go deeper and explore. There is much more than what we've touched on.
Indeed.
By the time we get to the next video, we would have experienced a whole lot more of this because we're all in this together. So let's go for it. Yeah.
I love it. Yes, I would love to continue. Yeah, this. And I've already read some of the comments too from the live chat. People agreeing with not just agreeing with what we are saying, but liking the topic. This is something I think everyone can benefit from and everyone could also contribute to. And so, yeah, I would love to make it more interactive for the next one. I probably would just have to do a better job at planning this rather than just, going live one day so people can gather their thoughts and their questions and make it more interactive. So we'll definitely do that. I love doing these talks. So, yeah. Well, if you guys have nothing else for now, that's perfect. I think this is a good time to end it. Thank you so much. So much love to all of you. Thank you. Thank you so much for doing this. We will see you on. I love you guys. We'll see you on the next one. Okay. Bye.